Have you ever had to deal with a bully who refuses to leave you alone? Imagine that feeling, but on a massive life or death scale. The Israelite army found themselves trapped in a rocky, dusty valley, hiding behind boulders, terrified of the threat waiting for them outside. Their enemies were a group called the Philistines. The Philistines were determined to attack the Israelites, and they brought along an ultimate secret weapon to guarantee a win, a warrior named Goliath. This diagram shows what the Israelites were up against. On the left, a standard human. On the right, Goliath. The size difference alone was mathematically terrifying. Furthermore, Goliath wore heavy metal armor and carried massive weapons, a giant sword, spear, and heavy shield. Every single morning, Goliath would step out into the open space between the two camps. His routine was entirely predictable. He loudly challenged any Israelite soldier to come out and fight him one-on-one. You might expect the bravest, most experienced adult soldiers in the Israelite army to step up. Instead, they were completely terrified. No one dared answer the call. They all refused to fight. When you are faced with a problem that relies purely on physical strength and overwhelming intimidation, it is incredibly easy to feel completely hopeless. The math simply doesn't add up in your favor, leaving you paralyzed. Miles away from that tense battlefield, the environment was completely different. Out in the bright green rolling hills sat a young shepherd boy named David. Surrounded by fluffy sheep, he looked completely unthreatening. David was definitely not a trained soldier. He didn't know how to march in formation or swing a broadsword, but he had a different kind of strength, an immense, unwavering faith in the Lord. He had a very mundane reason for traveling to the dangerous army camp that day. He was simply running an errand, delivering some fresh food to his older brothers who were serving in the military. When David arrived at the tense camp, his timing couldn't have been more precise. He walked in right as the giant stepped out to shout his terrifying daily challenge across the valley. The seasoned soldiers ducked for cover, but David didn't hide. He was actually confused. He looked around and asked the soldiers why everyone was cowering instead of trusting God to defend Israel. When you look at a terrifying problem through the lens of faith, your perception of what is actually possible completely changes. The giant was exactly the same size, but David's measuring stick was different. Word of David's confidence quickly reached King Saul. The desperate king brought the small shepherd boy into his large, ornate royal tent. Saul, naturally, was highly skeptical, but Saul needed a solution, so he tried to fix the problem the only way a king knows how. He decided to dress little David in his own heavy, adult-sized metal armor. As you can imagine, it didn't go well. The shiny metal armor was oversized and incredibly heavy. David clanked and wobbled, struggling to take even a single step forward. David quickly realized something important. He could not defeat this giant using the world's conventional tools, and he certainly couldn't win by pretending to be someone he wasn't. So he took off the clunky armor. Instead, he went with what he knew. He picked 5 smooth river stones, put them in his bag, and grabbed his simple shepherd's sling. David explained his logic to the king. While he was out guarding his sheep, God had protected him from wild lions and bears. Because the Lord protected him then, David knew the Lord would protect him now. Relying on the unique skills you already have, combined with faith, is highly effective. Trying to force a mismatched conventional solution onto a unique problem usually just weighs you down. Out on the battlefield, the scale of the challenge became intensely real. From David's point of view, looking up at the jagged, heavily armored Goliath, the giant literally blocked out the sun. When Goliath saw who had come to fight him, he laughed. He mocked the Israelites, shouting insults at them for sending a mere child with a stick to do a warrior's job. David stood his ground. He didn't back down. Instead, he shouted back his core belief. Goliath was relying on heavy swords and thick armor, but David was relying on the Lord to protect him. Then, the moment of action. David sprinted straight toward the giant. He reached into his bag, loaded his shepherd's sling, and spun it rapidly above his head in a wide, sweeping motion. He let go. The smooth stone flew rapidly through the air and struck the giant squarely, right in the center of his forehead. The massive, heavily armored warrior froze, fell backward, and hit the dusty ground with an immense, heavy impact. The invincible giant was defeated without a single sword swing. Seeing their mighty champion fall to a shepherd boy, the terrified Philistine army immediately turned and ran away in fear. The Israelites erupted into cheers, having won the battle against all odds. True strength doesn't require being the biggest person in the room or having the fanciest gear. When we trust God and use the simple tools we already have, we can overcome our own biggest giants.